All right, mate, how you doing? Welcome to another video. The group stages of Euro 2024 are over for England, at least. There's other games still going on as I'm recording this, but I wanted to do an update because I don't like what I'm seeing. And I know that that's not something new for you guys. Anyone that's an England fan knows about the unrest that's going on right now. Maybe it's surprising to hear it from me. I have been a big proponent of Gareth Southgate for many a year. And don't get me wrong, I still respect the man, still like the man. But I've never been so negative about this England team as I am right now. And I'm going to explain to you why. And I'm going to explain to you why this is a real change up for me mentally towards the England team, because I've always seen the brighter side. I've always been, let's just get results because we never won anything in my lifetime and let's just do it. And I'm coming at it from the context of a West Ham fan who's used to relegations and things not going your way. And why is that changing? We're going to explore all that. But I do think that, unlike previous tournaments where I think there's been a bit of a division between the pro-Southgate guys and the anti-Southgate guys and the optimistic fans and the pessimistic fans, I feel like almost all of us are in the same camp now. I really do. And I think if I'm becoming pessimistic, then everyone should be. And we're talking about a situation when we have 5 points, which, okay, isn't amazing, but we topped our group. I think we're going to be the only team to top their group with 5 points, by the way. So, and I don't think we had the hardest group either, let's be honest. So really, it's a lot of flattering to deceive there. But the facts are the facts. We topped our group. We got a good draw. We got an amazing side to the draw in terms of who we could play. Yes, we might face Netherlands. But after that, no guarantee, especially with the way we're playing. But if you wanted a good route to the final, we've got it. And Southgate's been very fortunate with them. And this one wasn't by design. This wasn't like in 2018 when he essentially threw the game against Belgium to get the better side. This is luck that's got him this draw, okay? But why am I feeling this way? And is it in relation to the other tournaments? I think part of it is. But let's just boil it down to the brass tacks of things. We are awful. We are playing terrible football. We are not creating chances across 3 games. All of which, even the Denmark game, we're quite big favourites for. Okay, maybe a Denmark 1 draw in isolation, not too bad. But performance-wise, we should be bringing the game to these teams. There are nations that are doing it. Spain, for example, right now are the best team to watch for me. And they haven't got the best squad. They've got some unbelievable players. But pound for pound, if you compare it to ours, I'm not sure as individuals, certainly at their club performances, theirs is better than ours. I don't think it is. But oh my God, what a different experience it is watching Spain play to England play right now. It's so much more enjoyable, guys. It's crazy. And they didn't have an easy group, by the way. 9 points, though. They've had Italy. They've had Croatia. Yeah, Albania. Maybe not the hardest, but I don't know where we'd have come in that group. It wouldn't have been 9 points, that's for sure, clearly. Quick break in the video. We've had some breaking news, which is that Phil Foden has left the England camp temporarily due to family issues. So I just want to say, before we crack on, I wish Phil and his family the very best. You know, this is ultimately a trivial football matter. Nothing's more important than family. And what you're going to see in the rest of this video is my footballing opinion, which I stand by, based on what we've seen for the last 3 games. But ultimately, it is nowhere near as important as Phil's health and his family's health. So wish you the best, Phil. On with the video. We lack a philosophy. We lack someone to gel unbelievable individual talents together into a team. And unfortunately, the buck stops with you, Gareth Southgate. We have got the Bundesliga's top goal scorer. We've got La Liga's player of the year. We've got the Premier League player of the year. And they all look bang average. Now, they can't all have got bad overnight. Who's responsible for this? Why is it happening? There's a lot to be answered for. And I think, as someone who runs a football team, and I'm a much better football fan now than I was, say, 4, 5, 6 years ago. I understand the challenges are way better than I did previously. I know there's stuff that can go on behind the scenes, and I'm going to cut that slack. And you probably think I'm still being overly optimistic even now when I say that there could be stuff Southgate's dealing with we don't know about. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm not letting him off because of that. I'm just saying there may be reasons why we're not seeing certain players use as much as we'd like. You know, Gordon only using 1 or 2 minutes of him really normal time last game. He was nursing an injury. He maybe wasn't ready to play in the previous 2 games. But if you're ready to play a couple minutes off the bench, you can play 10 minutes off the bench or 15 or 20. So there's no doubt there was other reasons why he was used that little in the Slovenia game, you know. Likewise, obviously there's a massive problem with the lack of left back. Huge problem. This is something I've been talking about since the tournament started. You know, I've been doing a lot of watch-alongs with the club guys and I've been talking about it on there for a long time. In fact, last tournament, I think even maybe the tournament before, I was talking about this using SAKA as the left wing-back thing. And I got a lot of stick for it, right? And maybe in the past, I was guilty of trying to shoehorn more attacking, talented players in to allow SAKA to be in the side as well, albeit in a slightly more defensive shape. But this tournament, it just made sense for me. Now, I'm not necessarily still pushing the left-back agenda, but I have been pushing SAKA to left wing. And it makes so much sense for me. Now, I know we've almost never seen him play there. Yes, he played a little bit left back for Arsenal, but most of his life's been at right wing, right? But let's just start off at the beginning. We have no left-sided left back. As someone who spent most of his football career as a right-footed left back, I understand what that means for the football pitch. And if you're going to be that successfully, you need, if you're not at least very good on both feet, you need a left wing, a left midfielder, whatever in front of you, who is left-footed. To do both, to have two right-footers. And now we don't with Foden. Ironically, we do have a left footer, but he's not a winger. He's not a wide man on that side. So he might as well be right-footed. He wants to cut in. To not have that width, and I know every tactician and analyst has talked about this already, I'm not going to go on about it too much, but it makes you so predictable as a team. We're not even see Kieran Trippier make unselfish runs on the outside of Foden just to take someone away as a decoy. And I think even if he did, at this level, the fullbacks are clever enough to know if he does cross it on his left, it's not going to be that dangerous. So almost let him do it. It's so predictable. It's exactly what I'd be thinking if I was an opposition manager against England. We have to give them something to worry about, even if it's a bit of a punt, i.e. SAKA on the left, or even SAKA at left wing back, which I'd have been here for, by the way. It gives them something to think about as an opposition, right? SAKA at left wing, whilst we've never seen it, tell me why it doesn't make sense. There's no way you're telling me Bukayo Saka is not capable of playing that role. His main skill sets, yes, he likes to cut in from the right and he does great things on his left foot for Arsenal. He's not done that once to success in this 3 games in this tournament. Because if he cuts in, he's in Bellingham's space. He's in Foden's space, who ironically is coming in and covering a lot of ground away from the left. And he's in Harry Kane's space, who we know likes to drop deep. So he is actually being more of a traditional winger at the moment. The cross that he put in for Bellingham's goal against Serbia was a right-footed cross, beating his man on the outside. Yes, thanks to a deflection. But you're telling me he couldn't do that better on the left, beating his man, crossing it in. Straight away, if you're desperate to play Saka and Foden, which I think that ship has sailed now, none of them are playing well enough to stay in my opinion, right now. But if that's what Southgate wants to do, just swap them. Just swap them. I'm telling you it'd be so much better. Saka on the left, beating his man, crossing it in. Foden cutting in with Walker on the outside, overlapping. It just makes sense. There is no proof in an England shirt that Phil Foden is good at left wing. There is zero proof. There's actually very little proof that Phil Foden is good for England, full stop. Now, I'm not anti-Phil Foden by any means. I was for him to start before this tournament. But he's not done enough in these 3 games to keep his spot, in my opinion. But that could be said for almost every single player, probably outside of Mark Guay and Pickford. Honestly. Maybe Declan Rice, just because we've got so little else that can do that job. And Kyle Walker, I guess. There's not many that couldn't have an argument, an objective argument to be dropped. We're going off club form and we're going off England form from quite a while ago now because we've not been actually good at football for a while. We've played some really poor, underwhelming games in warm-up and our last few games before that as well. So there's something not right here. So why are you not changing it up? And honestly, I've been defending him. What is it? Is it a lack of imagination? Is it a fear of failure? Well, you're failing now, Gareth. Maybe he's not failing by his internal metrics, by the FA's metrics, and that's maybe part of the problem, is that they've just said, look, get out of the group. We don't care how you look. We don't care how you play. Just get out of the group. But you have brought this negative sentiment on yourself from England fans, from the press now. It was so avoidable. There were so many low-hanging fruit options Gareth could have done these last few games that, as changes, no one would have been annoyed by. For example, he did one yesterday with Kobe Mainoo coming on at half-time. No one could be annoyed by that. It's a free hit as a manager. As long as you're happy with it, no one was going to be annoyed because it was so clear that something had to change. And it did work, really. It was a good change. It made us better. But it was a free hit. Likewise, if he'd started Gordon yesterday, if he'd started Cole Palmer yesterday, he had a free hit to change things because we hadn't been good in the previous 2 games. Now, if we'd got smashed by Slovenia, the nature of the beast, the nature of football, the nature of the spectrum of football opinions is that he'd have got hammered, sure. But he at least would have had a justification for making the changes. He has very little justification at this point in time for leaving Phil Foden at left wing. Almost none. If Luke Shaw's fit, it's a gamble. Sure, it is a gamble because how fit can he be with the lack of football he's played? But something has to change on that left side. And if Luke Shaw isn't an option yet, and if we can't maybe introduce him to get some minutes at some point, then we have to change the left winger. We have to change it. There's no one else. He didn't take any other natural left backs. He didn't take Tyreek Mitchell. He didn't take Doherty from Luton. He didn't, whoever. Chilwell. I'm not saying he should have taken them. I'm just saying he didn't. So he hasn't got the option now without Luke Shaw of playing a left-footed left back. So he has to change the left wing spot. Options are swap Foden and Saka if you want to keep the same personnel. Is that enough? Right now, I don't know because we're not seeing anything from Bellingham. We're not seeing anything from Saka really on his favoured side. There's a lot of players that are going missing in this tournament, which makes me think it's something deeper. My brother had a theory there's an illness going through the camp. John Stones had an illness before the tournament. He looked visibly ill against Serbia, and he hasn't actually played particularly well this tournament, I wouldn't say, John Stones. Could that have spread like wildfire through the camp? Could they all be suffering an illness? I don't know why we wouldn't know that. It would be in Southgate's interest now to let people know that. So I'm going to discount that theory, although there could be legs in it. You can't say it's the media pressure and the negativity from the fans, because that wasn't there at the start of the tournament. That's happened, and we've been poor since the start. It has to be tactical for me. It has to be tactical, and it's now become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's a snowball effect where the players aren't happy with the tactics. They're not doing well in these tactics. Now the fans are getting on, the journos are getting on them, and there's just this negative vibe now that's very hard to get out of, which is a real shame, because Southgate has traditionally been so good at creating a positive environment. This maybe is a great example of how managers can run their course, and it'd be time now for something different. And I think even if we won this tournament, which is not impossible, even if we won it, I don't see him staying on. I think actually him winning it is the most likely circumstance where he does leave, because he can say, I've done it and I want to get out of this mosh pit of negativity that he has to face as England manager, because it's a horrible job in many ways, right? But let's not talk about post-tournament just yet. So if you don't want to swap Saka and Foden, then this is what I would be looking at this point. Do we revert to a back three, play Kyle Walker as a third centre-back, and play Trent as a right wing-back? Get Trent in a position where he should be able to do his absolute best work. Less defensive responsibilities as a right-back, the ability to come into the midfield and play those balls, but none of the marking responsibilities of a centre-mid, because those centre-mids are being occupied by our other centre-mids, so you can come in and have a bit of time to play those balls. You get the pace of Kyle Walker in defensive positions. Alongside him, you have probably Stones and Gay, and then at left wing-back, Saka. That's an exciting team. You're telling me if you didn't name that team against Netherlands, whoever we play, you wouldn't be like, okay, I'm here for it. Maybe you wouldn't have been here for it at the start of the tournament, but would you not now? With the two centre mids maybe being, I don't know, Rice and Bellingham, still leaving you with three more people to go up top. I don't know, Cole Palmer maybe, Harry Kane, and then on the left, let's say Gordon. How exciting would that team be? The only person missing is Phil Foden, and he hasn't done enough to start again. I'm not making him a scapegoat. He's not the only problem, but something has to change. Now, if we don't go back three, fine, I've got a solution for you there as well. You don't want to put Saka at left back, nor do I really. Keep Trippier if Shaw's not available. You don't want to swap Saka and Foden. Okay, fine. How about we just put Gordon in as one option? We don't play Gallagher. We don't play Trent. We play Kobe Mainoo from the start. That's the only change I think he'll probably do. Obviously alongside Rice. That 10 spot is then up for grabs. It's Bellingham or Foden. Go off what you're seeing in training, Gareth. Who's impressed you the most? Because Bellingham's done a little bit more because he scored a goal. But other than that, he hasn't. He's been really poor. Last game against Slovenia, he was one of our worst players on the pitch statistically. Look at what he achieved on the ball in terms of passing, in terms of creativity. It was very minimal. I don't think we drop Harry Kane just yet. I think he has the ability to do something in the moments when we need him to. But he's not far off. But because we've got other options in the 10, because even if you didn't want to play Foden in there, who would be the next obvious option, you can play Cole Palmer in there because he looked really good. And you can keep Saka on the right and you can play Gordon on the left. He's not going to do any of these things. I really don't think he is. I think he's going to play the exact same 10 players, and it's just that other centre mid spot that's up for grabs. Only thing will be if Luke Shaw comes in. Because unfortunately, Gareth is motivated by fear, and he is happy enough with what he's seeing defensively that he won't change it. And one thing I will say on that is, defence wins championships. And defensively, we look bloody good right now. It's going forward, we look awful. And that is a problem. But there is an argument to say we could win this tournament still. If we do, it will be closer to Greece 2004 than it will be to Spain 2008. That's for sure. It would be an underwhelming win, but a win nonetheless. And are we in a position to choose? Beggars can't be choosers. Would I take that right now? Yeah, if you guarantee it to me. This is the thing with these sort of defensive tactics and this lack of creativity. It's only good if you win. Mourinho won many titles playing defensive football, but he won the titles, crucially. If he didn't win the titles, he'd be looked at as Sam Allardyce. That's the reality of the beast. And that is the way Southgate is approaching this tournament. If you're going to play like this, you've got to win. People are spending big money, travelling to Germany to watch England, hotels, all that stuff. And they are booing them now because they're not even seeing goals. I said before the game yesterday, I wouldn't have even minded a draw, but I want a 3-3 draw. I want entertainment. I want to see us creating chances, even if we're rubbish at the back. I need to be entertained at this point. And trust me, I'm the last guy to say this. I'm a West Ham fan, but we've got one of the most talented squads in the tournament. I think only maybe Portugal and France, you could argue objectively, are better than us as individuals of a squad. And, okay, sure, France have been pretty underwhelming. Even Germany have been a bit underwhelming. And France have less goals from open play than we do. They have none, which is crazy in itself. But I bet you there's an inquest going on there as well. There has to be. Difference with them is they've won some stuff. They've got a manager who's won some stuff, including the World Cup. So maybe he's getting a little bit more leeway. I don't know. I don't care, quite frankly. It's not my problem. I'm talking about England right now. And this is a problem for me because even when I've watched 2018, I was there every single game in Russia. You know, I was there almost every single game in 2020. You know, watching Qatar in this studio last time out, I never felt like this. I never felt so underwhelmed. I never felt so unconfident we were going to entertain in any capacity. It's a very different thing if we are playing a Spain or Germany as hosts or whoever, and we take this approach. I'm not necessarily against that because I understand the tactical acumen in trying to get a win that way against a team you may feel, rightly or wrongly, are superior. But we are playing teams who I think objectively the best way to beat them is to press them and outplay them and not defend our way to victory. There is no way you can't tell me our best port of call of beating Slovenia is not to attack them and press them from minute one. Yes, 9 times out of 10 it might work and 1 time it might go wrong, but that's the way we should be doing it as England because those 9 times out of 10 you win 3-0 or 4-0. That's what the England of old would have done under Terry Venables and Bobby Robson and attack-minded managers. It can go wrong. It has gone wrong in the past, but you're entertained nonetheless. I grew up in a generation of watching England constantly not live up to their potential, but there's usually a reason. You know, World Cup 98, Beckham sent off, still did great and lost on penalties. You know, 2006, I was there when Rooney got sent off and we still took him to penalties with 10 men against Portugal and Germany. You know, the only time I remember us losing where we were just really bad is probably Iceland in the Euros, of course. And I say really bad, but we were outclassed by Brazil in 2002 and they went on to win the tournament, right? Other than that, we've always given it a good go, in my opinion. We ain't giving it a go. And I don't know why, but I'm not here for it anymore. I really hope something's going to change. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do I expect it to change? I really don't. I think this is Southgate's ship now and he's going to go down with it. And there's hope that he's right and we win the tournament. And it could happen, guys. I'm not sitting here saying we're not going to win the tournament. What I'm sitting here saying is I don't think we're going to be entertained very much, which is tantamount to treason when you have the quality of players at the disposal that Gareth Southgate has. He's reached his ceiling as a manager and he's not able to get the best out of world-class players, and I now see that. Maybe I didn't before, but I think this is more of a process that has built up over time as a result of how he performed in previous tournaments. So I stand by everything I've said about Southgate in the past. I'm not saying I was wrong. I don't change my opinion on how I felt in the other tournaments, but I'm man enough to stand up now and say I don't feel that way anymore. So I really do want to be entertained against the Netherlands or whoever we play because we've got the players to do it. And we shouldn't be using this defensive approach. Not because I'm attack over defense and we have to attack all the time. I just think it's wrong. I think it's the incorrect strategy with the players we have. It's as simple as that. If we were under-resourced and out-strengthed by these other teams, then we can go defensive. I believe in that. I'm a West Ham fan. I know all about that. But that's not what we are. And unfortunately, we've got a manager who wants to play in a certain way and a talented squad that probably want to play and are capable of playing a certain way. And they are not agreeing with each other. And it's created this problem. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully, the next video from me you see about England is after we've won the Euros. And I owe Gareth an apology maybe. And we all just go off into the sunset singing Three Lions. Let's hope that's what happens. If not, I'll see you again soon. Don't go changing.